So I am Panos Kotzathanasis, and we are here with AMP Talks number 5, if I remember correctly. I'm here with Rhythm Zaveri, co-administrator of ASEAN Movie Pass, and today we're going to speak about Jallikattu, the film that was submitted by India for this year Oscars. It didn't manage to get shortlisted, but in my opinion, it could be. It would have a better chance if Parasite didn't win last year, and no Asian film is gonna go that way anytime soon, I think.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
agree.
okay. Just a question written before I start with the film. So
Hmm.
we included Jallikattu in the best films of 2019, but it was
That's right.
submitted for Oscar of 2021. What do you
Hmm.
think happened there?
I am not 100% sure myself. I was very confused when it was announced. From what I hear, apparently it has something to do with the date that it's released in its original country, and if it's October or something like that, if it's at a certain date, then it is eligible. But obviously we had it in 2019, and we did, when we did our best of 2019 list, it was there. So yeah, I'm still not 100% sure if it should have been this year or the year before, but here we are. It was for 2021 that it was nominated, or at least it was submitted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there is also a chance that maybe they recut it and released it as maybe a 2020 film. It has been known to happen,
I
although
I don't think that happened. To be
no,
honest with you,
yeah,
no, because obviously the cinemas were all closed in 2020 for the
so
most
yeah,
part.
yeah, there was no
Yeah, we
point in
did
doing
have
that.
it did release for streaming online via Amazon Prime in India, but I'm not really sure if that was in 2020 or the year before as well. But that could have played a part, but again, I'm still not sure.
Yeah, yeah. But this whole thing with the date of the movies is like a topic, right? You
Yeah,
never
yeah,
know what,
absolutely.
because others say it's the date that's on the ending titles, because there is usually a copyright that says a date. Then others say the time that it premieres.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
now you
very
also
confusing.
have streaming, so it's like a bit crazy on that front. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we start with the movie, I would like to read actually a few things about the whole concept of what is Jallikattu. Okay, according to Wikipedia, Jallikattu is a traditional event in which a bull is released into a crowd of people, and multiple human participants attempt to grab the large hump on the bull's back with both arms and hang onto it while the bull attempts to escape.
Mhm.
Participants hold the hump for as long as possible, attempting to bring the bull to a stop. In some cases, participants must ride long enough to remove flags on the bull's horns. Jallikattu is typically practiced in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu as part of Pongal celebration on Matu Pongal Day, which occurs annually in January. As there were incidents of injury and death associated with the sport, both to the participants and to the animals forced into it, animal rights organizations have called for a ban to the sport, resulting in the court banning it several times over the past years. However, with protest from the people against the ban, a new ordinance was made in 2017 to continue the sport. So I guess it sounds like a pretty brutal endeavor, something like Pamplona, what's happening in Pamplona with the bulls. I'm not sure if it's still happening there, but it sounds pretty brutal, right?
Yes, yeah, I have. I had heard about the sport beforehand, and that this was back when people were protesting against it, and I think that's when it might have first come into my point of view, and even then I thought it's interesting, but it does sound very very brutal.
But you haven't been to watch it.
No, no, no. It's it's in a part of the country which is very far from me, and it's not a part of my my culture
Canon.
per se whatsoever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, I've never been to see. If it still goes on, there, I'd definitely like to see it one day. But I don't know how that will happen.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, so and can you tell us a bit about what the movie is about now?
Of course, yes. By itself, the synopsis of the film is very very simple. There's a butcher's in a remote village in Kerala where they are trying to butcher a buffalo, but the buffalo escapes, and in a manic state, it starts raising property and crops and everything, and the people of the village, they try to get together and stop the bull and capture it, and maybe once again slaughter it like they always intended to.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, okay. So
That's the basic premise, but obviously the film is so much more than that.
yeah, yeah, but we can say that it's actually a constant chasing scene, right? They never stop running in that film.
Absolutely.
They are always
Yeah.
running from or
Yeah.
towards something. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
okay. Yeah. So okay, I think we can all agree here that the best part of the film is its rhythm. And it's not a coincidence that I invited you to talk about this film.
Right. Okay. I see how it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have a lot of great rhythms in this case, you know.
True. True.
So it's like, you know, I feel like there is this kind of filmmaking. I feel that like directors like Johnny To, Tarantino, and Guy Ritchie have managed this thing that the rhythm actually dictates the whole narrative, and it becomes
Absolutely.
everything is timed, and you can see it in this film also. The way the scenes are cut, the way the people talk, the way they move, everything seems to be on the clock. It's like really impressive,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely. Definitely. It just keeps moving. Very kinetic film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, you think okay, what did you think in general about the film? What's the part that you like the most, let's say?
I loved how the story was not, it's a very simple story at face value, but it's the narrative is so structured and so multi-layered. It's got so many things to say about human nature, about man, about the base necessities of man, and how he will do anything in any situations to satisfy those. And when I say base necessities, I mean things like their own lust, and those kind of things, their own ego, and being always wanting to be the person, the top dog basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's something that to do it in a story that is so simple. I think it was excellent of the script writers to do that, and I'm sure we'll talk about the technical features of the film, which are some of the best that I have ever seen in India, ever. So that's something that is just it just blew my mind when I saw this film.
Yeah, yeah. Particularly, Deepu Joseph has done the editing, and I'd say, okay, I think the editing is worthy of an Oscar, in my opinion. It could
Oh,
be in that
totally,
category.
totally,
Yeah, yeah,
totally,
yeah. I
totally.
mean, I
I
don't
think I
know.
think not just the editing, but also the sound mix of the film is incredible, because when we decided to have this chat, I thought, I should probably brush up on the film once again, and I rewatched it, and this time I watched it with headphones on, and my goodness, the sound is unbelievable in this film.
Hmm, hmm. And I also was very impressed by the way he managed to direct all those people that I mean, constantly there are so many people running together in the movie, but there is a rhythm, and there is not chaos, exactly. And I think it's
Yeah,
obvious that they are not actors. I mean, it's not possible all of them to be actors. I think he just picked some locals and put them there, but he managed to direct them so well. Like,
he did.
yeah, the film is chaotic, but there are some rules to the chaos. It makes sense. There are not just people running around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have you seen any of this director's other works?
No, no. Have you?
Okay. I have not seen all of them, but I
Mm-hmm.
have seen one film that he did called Angamali Diaries,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it's a gangster film, which is set in the same sort of area of the country. And the main reason that I watched that film was because I'd heard of a scene that comes in the climax of the film, and that's like an 11 minutes or something uncut scene, and that takes place in like a festival procession. So there's like maybe 1,000 people in there, and the camera just goes from one location into the crowd, back into another location, back into the crowd, and that is so expertly done. And I thought that was fantastic. But what he has managed to do with the crowds in this one is miles better than what he did over there. And again, with Angamali Diaries, and I think with this one as well, the actors, they are mostly all non-professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Angamali Diaries had a vast star cast, but there was only, I think, one actor in there who was a professional who had done acting work before. And I think with Jallikattu as well, the main actor, the guy who plays Anthony, he was the director's lead actor in Angamali as well. And I think he might be one of the very few people in this who was also professional. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but at least that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, yeah, he couldn't have hired actors for all those. There are like
No, I don't think so.
dozens of people running. Uh,
Exactly.
and it's also impressive that he manages to keep this space for almost the whole movie. Like it's relentless. Like it creates a sense that you get anxious as you watch the movie. The movie
Yeah,
like
yeah,
grabs you
absolutely.
from the neck from the beginning and never stops. Right?
Totally.
Yeah, it's not a chill movie. No?
Urgency. It's got this urgency that you feel with the characters. You want them to catch the bull as quickly as they want to catch it themselves too. And I think that plays very well with the cinematography as well, because it puts you right in the thick of the events that's happening. The handheld cameras and the really close-up camera work. I think that's what does an exceptional job to put the audience into the actual events and right in there with the characters and the bull and everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, because in that case, the handheld camera actually occasionally makes the film look like a documentary, like the approach it has on the movie. Even though, okay, what you see, it's obviously not a documentary, but the approach is so realistic that you can believe that it's actually true what's happening.
True, true. I completely agree with that. It doesn't seem like a fictionalized work. The camera work, it just felt like you were watching actual events rather
Mm-hmm,
than fictionalized stuff.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed. And also, I find it kind of maybe funny and ironic. Like we live in an era where everything is going a vegan way, and people talking about how bad it is to eat meat and slaughter animal. But this film actually, half of the protagonists are butchers, like their
Yeah,
profession, right? The film is
that's
about
true.
cutting meat as much as it is for anything else, right?
Indeed, indeed. And I think with India as well, there was this issue a while back as well, because cows are actually considered holy in the country. And so, several, right-wing people were against the butchering of cows and stuff like that, particularly in the part of the country where this film is set. To actually, even in Angamali Diaries, which I mentioned earlier, the director had characters who were all butchers and who were into the beef trade. And in this as well, it's again about beef. And, I'm sure it must have ruffled some feathers when it released here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure outside India also. I mean, it's like it's almost offensive. It's reality, but it's like kind of he throws it in your face, like the cutting of the butchering of the animals, right?
Yeah, it's right in there as well. Even in the beginning of the film, when they're chopping of the meat and with the slaughters of the cow, and when they attack the bull near the end of the film as well. It's so realistically done that you actually you do get a bit squeamish while watching it.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Okay, so also, one of the main comments of the movie, it's about human nature also. This whole thing that the director has done with the people there, I think it becomes obvious that after a point, the humans are the actual animals in the movie, right?
True.
They seem to, I don't know, they seem to be dominated by their instincts. They don't know what they do. I mean, there is no point in running after that animal after a point, or doing what they are doing and in essence killing each other. It loses completely its point. It just shows that
Exactly.
people
Like
are
I said,
animals.
like I said, after a while, it just comes back to the basic nature of man, which is they want to be the first people to catch it. They want to have the share of the meat, so to speak, and they with the lead character and the guy who's supposed to play the baddie. It comes down to winning, their own ego because of the girl that they both like. So after a point, it's not really about catching the bull for a lot of the characters. It's just about fulfilling, satisfying that base nature of mankind.
Yeah, yeah, and also the it's the psychology of the mob, right? At some point, they just become one huge thing, not individuals that are just running for because someone told them to run. It feels like
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And okay, this whole thing actually it becomes most obvious in the finale, right? Which is like the most impressive scene in the film. Like,
Oh my God. The moment you said finale, I've got goosebumps going on.
yeah, yeah,
That's such a good scene, such a good scene. Took me a second to realize what was going on, if I'm completely honest with you.
yeah.
But when I did get it blew my mind, because I thought that was such a clever way to end the film.
And in essence, cementing the comments about human nature, right? And I feel that
So true.
there was like a comment there that the director is actually asking if the evolution happened, because in the end, the people are like, they are animals. They are
Animals, totally.
just
That's
animals.
a
There's
very good
nothing
question.
human about them, right?
That's so true. That's a very good question, actually. It makes a complete sense in terms of the last scene, because that's exactly what the people end up doing. It is being total animals, because if you see nature documentaries and stuff like that, things like things like what happened in the finale happen all the time. You see all sorts of animals fighting for the same carcass and fighting for the same prey, and that's exactly what happened in the finale, and it was so impressive the way it was staged, the way it was executed, and the scene where the guy is trying to come up out of the whole human pyramid sort of structure. It was beautifully shot.
Indeed. But also, another great thing about the film is that in the film is brutal, right, from beginning to end. But he also Pellissery also managed to include some moments of humor in it, and which is also they also make like social comments. It's like uh, the illiterate council member who actually runs the village, but he can read, and so he has to ask the educated man to help him,
Yeah,
which is like a very pointy comment. Or
totally. Yeah.
yeah, and this
That,
yeah, sorry, please.
yeah, it's actually quite true to reality as well, because in some parts of the country, you've got people running things who have absolutely no idea how to do so, and who are literally illiterate, and so it's very close to home the way he does that.
Indeed. And also, I found very funny that in this setting of meat cutting and meat chasing, there is this hippie guy who tells them, who criticizes them about harming nature. You know, in this setting, who feels like like completely out of place, like he doesn't know where he is. You know, it's like that.
Some of those things were very well done. I think to have a film that is so brutal, so violent, and then to do these tiny things that he does every now and then, and it's not even scattered. There's moments where that are genuinely funny for a good while as well.
Yeah, and well placed, I think, because they offer some relief from tension.
Absolutely. It gives you as an audience a little bit of a breathing space from the anxiety that you've been going before that.
Yeah, yeah. And also the last funny element is also the policeman who is one of the protagonists of the film, and he tries to control the mob, fails, but
Nothing's happening.
nothing happened. But also when he comes home, his wife like controls him completely. It's
Yeah.
obvious he has no control over nothing. You know, it's like another comment against
Nothing,
the
exactly.
police also, I think. Okay.
Totally. When it comes to the mob, I think that again plays with the whole mob mentality thing. If you're facing a mob, it doesn't matter if you're police or whatever. It's going to be very hard for one person, two people, or even a small group to contain it.
And okay, also food in general is also a very big aspect of the film, in particular in the marriage aspect. They are preparing, okay, the whole, I don't know, this whole thing, this whole feast.
Yeah.
How would you say this, okay, like food is obviously very important for all kind of nations, but how does it translate for India? Is it as important as, I don't know?
It definitely is. Particularly in the terms of wedding, like the way he is organizing the whole feast, your functions, the events that you do, and not just that, but your social standing. Sometimes it all depends on the sort of feast that you put out for people. So it definitely plays a huge part in the social circumstances in that region and in India as a whole, I think.
Okay. And so, uh, would you sacrifice a big animal to celebrate your one of your daughter's marriage at some point? Do you think? What would you do in that case, or are you afraid of vegans now?
I'm actually the wrong person to ask that because I am a vegetarian myself.
Ah,
So,
yeah. Okay. Well,
you know.
well, I got
But
the
I do.
name.
I'm sure I know some people who would gladly sacrifice an animal to make sure that their function is the feast is well received and people talk about it even days after it's done. So I definitely do know some people like that. Yeah.
Okay. But as a vegetarian, you were not appalled by the movie, were you, or no?
Not really. No, I'm just structured that way that I'm not really appalled by seeing a bit of meat cutting and whatnot in film at least. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, and I think the way he did it, he didn't want to provoke with that. I think not so much. It's
Yeah.
like it's not chilling what you see. It's a bit brutal,
No.
but not horror-like.
No, I definitely agree. It's not done that way at all. It's shown realistically, but it's not something that it makes you wince or it makes you close your eyes or anything.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it about Jallikattu. Personally, I have to say that I believe that the film could have been shortlisted for the Oscars, considering the rest of the films that did, at least for the foreign film Oscar. I think it could have been. But
I
okay,
definitely
it's a
agree with that.
difficult film. It's a difficult film. It's not for everybody, obviously. So this could have been against it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also I think its technical merits are the first thing that come to your mind, and when it comes to the academy, it's not always that aspect that they do tend to look at least in terms of the international features. So I think, that must have been something that played a part.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I guess that's it. AMP Talks number 5. In case you want to subscribe to our channel, there are going to be more discussions like this. Either you want or not, we're just going to keep doing it. And from me, Panos Kotzathanasis, and you can say your name.
Rhythm Zaveri.
Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week, probably. Bye.
Bye, everyone.